Welcome to the Friday Happy Hour with victory strategist, award-winning author and your happy hour host, Annmarie Kelly. Each week, Annmarie chats with women who have reinvented, started over or wrote fabulous next chapters. They share how they overcame their midlife challenges and how you can too. So kick back with some good happy hour something to drink and enjoy today's show.
Welcome. You're listening to the Friday Happy Hour with me, Annmarie Kelly. You know me, I'm that recovering good girl and your victorious woman empowerment partner. This is a place for us victory chicks and you men who care about us. Meet on Fridays to chat about things we can do to achieve our goals, overcome our challenges, and get empowered so our lives can sparkle. Thanks for joining me today. Well, we're 2 weeks into our brand new baby year. Are you any thinner yet? Me neither. I'm wondering if you started the obligatory New Year's diet. I can't say I have. Well, not exactly. I'm always on a diet. That's why when I got a copy of Lisa Letwan's book, it caught my eye. The title is Busy, Stressed, and Food Obsessed. I don't know if it sounds like you, but it certainly sounds like me. But the subtitle is more interesting. The subtitle is Calm Down, Ditch Your Inner Critic, and Finally Figure Out What Your Body Needs to Thrive. I want that, for my body to thrive. I'm betting it sounds good to you, too. So I asked Lisa Letwan to come to Happy Hour, and she'll be joining us in a little bit. But before she gets here, I have something to tell you about something that happened to me this week. Well, actually, something I did. Well, actually, not me, but my neighbor Jenna. She killed the turkey. Yep, broke its neck. But it's all good. This whole thing started several years ago when one of Joseph's clients gave him a big chocolate turkey at Thanksgiving. She does it every year. The first couple years, I didn't know what to do with it. First of all, I'm not a big chocoholic. So it wasn't like it was overly enticing. But, I'd break it up and Joseph would eat it. He's the family chocoholic. But once it got into the freezer, out of sight, out of mind for Joseph, he wouldn't eat it anymore. Now, even though I'm not a big chocolate person, that would not stop me from eating it. If I needed a sugar fix, that frickin' chocolate turkey would call my name from the freezer, and I'd eat it. Even if it wasn't like the thing I was looking for to eat. Well, one year when Joseph and I were having an open house, my neighbor Neil came over with his daughter Jenna. I'm thinking then she might have been around 5 years old. The chocolate turkey was there, and so was Jenna, and I had the inspiration to ask Jenna to chop off the head of the turkey. Actually, I might even have said kill the turkey. Okay, maybe slightly gross, but it's a big chocolate turkey. So I figured, no harm, no foul. Get it? Chocolate turkey, no foul. Ha! Okay, I tried. Anyway, Jen was pretty young, but she was game for doing it. Though that first year, she was a little overwhelmed. After all, she was little. She didn't know me very well, and the turkey was big. And that first year, she was a little timid when she broke off the neck of the turkey. But she liked doing it, and I liked watching her. So the next year, when Joseph's kind client gave him a chocolate turkey, I invited Jenna to kill the turkey again. She wasn't quite so timid the next time. And now Jenna and the chocolate turkey are something of a regular thing. In fact, according to Jenna's mom, Marnie, it's one of Jenna's favorite holiday things to do. So this year I was thinking, Jenna's getting to be a big girl. She's 10 now. So I didn't know if she was getting too old to kill the turkey. Not to worry. When I emailed Marnie, she quickly said, "Are you kidding? Jenna could be 20 and she'd still want to do it." So this past Monday, after work and school, Mom Marnie came over with Jenna and her younger brother Jake, and the plan was once the turkey was in pieces, I'd make some hot chocolate with it. Have you ever done that with chocolate? Like sometimes if you have chocolate left over and you don't know exactly what to do with it. I got the idea from using to make hot chocolate out of it. One year I was at the Four Seasons Hotel in Philly. And when it was, it's closed now, but you could go to the Four Seasons in late afternoon for high tea, or in the wintertime you could go for hot chocolate. Well, Joseph and I did it once, and it was exquisite. They had the special cups, the ceremonial pouring. The Four Seasons would do it upright. So on Monday, the dining room table was set with the vintage teacups that were passed down to me from Joseph's Aunt Rose. I so seldom get to use them, but killing the chocolate turkey seemed like a perfect occasion for taking those beautiful bone china cups out of the china closet. Well, Mom Marnie got young Jake settled in, and I told Jenna she could sit at whatever place had her favorite cup. But, Victory Chicks and you guys, there were 3 teacups and one huge chocolate turkey on the table. I really don't think Jenna cared much about any of those charming cups. 10 years from now she might, but it wasn't now. And if you have little ones around, if you have young ones around, you know exactly what I mean. The turkey was the thing. And Jenna's eyes were sparkling with anticipation. And then before the official killing of the turkey, Mom Marnie took some pictures. They're so sweet, and I posted them on today's radio wrap-up at victoriouswoman.com, except you can't see them just yet because something happened to something happened to the website, and my webmaster, Chris, is working on it. By tomorrow, they should be up. But here's the thing. Jen has been doing this for so many years that she's gotten to be a pro. I remember one year, like at the beginning, we had to use a hammer to dismantle the turkey, and one year Dad Neil helped Jenna. But no more. Jenna tackled that turkey with the skill of a professional. I'll bet it wasn't more than 5 minutes before she had that turkey totally in pieces. I'm so sorry you can't see the pictures right now. It's because I tell you to go and look at them right away. But next, I went to the kitchen to heat up some of that fine chocolate and that's the thing. The woman who gives them, the client who gives the turkey to Joseph, I don't know where she gets it, but it's really good chocolate. So I used half and half to make the hot chocolate. And I gave Jenna a baggie and told her she could take home as many pieces as her mom said was okay. While I was making the hot chocolate, Jenna filled the baggie. And then I went into the dining room, filled our teacups with hot chocolate, and gave Jenna another baggie. Well, after a minute, my Mom Marnie told Jenna it was enough. And then this was the best part. Whenever Mom turned away to do something with Jake, Jenna snuck another piece of chocolate into the baggie. Now, Mom Marnie isn't dumb. She knew exactly what was going on. But to watch Jenna do it and think she was getting over on Mom, she made me laugh so hard. Talk about priceless. And all week it made me laugh. I'm still working on my next book, and it's tedious, mostly because I'm so anxious to be done and share it with the world. But this week, whenever I got bogged down, I thought about how much excited energy Jenna had for dismantling the chocolate turkey. And I'd tune into that energy, and it would lift my spirits, and then I'd write another paragraph. Do you remember when you were a kid and got that excited over something? Like when you'd hear the bell from the ice cream truck driving down the street, and then you'd beg your mom for money for ice cream, and if she didn't give it to you fast enough, you'd have to run after the truck or even go to the next street. And you could run fast because it was really important to catch that ice cream truck. And then when you did, remember how good that ice cream tasted on a hot summer day? So if you want to give yourself a little midlife pick-me-up, think about one of those things today. One thing that you loved from before you had responsibilities. Maybe playing stickball or volleyball or going to the swimming pool. You know what I mean, that kind of stuff. Something from the days when running after the ice cream truck was the most important thing you had to do all day. So this week, Jenna killed the 2016 chocolate turkey. And I'm not sure who enjoys this little tradition more, Jenna or me. Or maybe Joseph. Here's the thing with that, with Joseph. Yeah, I mean, he gets the chocolate turkey. He always takes it home. He gives it to us. We put it on the dining room table. And for the last 6 weeks, that chocolate turkey sat on the dining room table, all still wrapped up. I don't unwrap it, and tantalizes Joseph. This past Monday, when Joseph came home and he saw the chocolate, first thing he did was start eating it. And he can eat more chocolate than anybody else I know. And after dinner, he and I drank the rest of the decadent hot chocolate. That's what we have for dessert. Then, when Joseph wasn't looking, see, I can sneak too. When Joseph wasn't looking, I put some turkey in the freezer so that at the next snowfall, I can make us hot chocolate. And I freeze it because if I leave that chocolate out, Joseph makes it disappear. It's the first thing he does when he gets home. He goes right for the chocolate. And I don't. I'm the one eating the vegetables. But you know what? And you guys, this is so aggravating for us women. He's thin and I gain weight. You victory checks, you know what I'm talking about? You go on a diet and you stick to the diet, he cheats, you lose 2 pounds, he loses 10. Go figure. And maybe you're like that too. You look at food and you gain weight. So I think Lisa Letwan might be able to help us. Lisa said she self-hacked her own mind and body to restore her own health. She self-hacked it. Keep hearing all about hacking. She self-hacked it, and now she helps others do the same. Lisa's a healthy living strategist, a graduate of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and the founder of the website Healthy, Happy, and Hip. And now she's our guest at Friday Happy Hour. So go get some good happy hour, something to drink, and come back for Lisa Letwan. You're listening to the Friday Happy Hour.
Remember when you wished you had more time for yourself? And now you have it, but you notice you're keeping busy with stuff, but that stuff isn't making you feel happy or filled up? And when you think about what would make you happy and filled up, you get stuck or feel overwhelmed. And then you go back to what's more familiar, more comfortable, even if it's not making you happy. Wouldn't you love to find a way to start making sense of that deep discontent you're feeling? Well, you're not alone. I'm Annmarie Kelly, author, victory strategist, and the radio show host of the Friday Happy Hour. And I know there's a place for you, one that other women have found to be both inspirational and empowering. And it's the Victorious Woman Project. Go there now and get on my mailing list, where you'll be the first to know about my upcoming online workshops, teleseminars, and more. And while you're there, take a couple minutes to look over my blog. You can download some of the free stuff I have for you and let it get your creative juices going. I'm looking forward to meeting you at the Victorious Woman Project. And that's at www.victoriouswoman.com.
Welcome back to the Friday Happy Hour. I'm Annmarie Kelly, and Lisa Letwan is with me. Hi, Lisa. How are you doing?
Hi, Annmarie. I am so excited to be at Happy Hour.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. You know, Lisa, so many people put on losing weight on their list of New Year's resolutions, and sometimes I think it's because we ate and drank so much over the holidays and we can't zip up our pants. But you know, those diets don't last the month, and sometimes they don't last the first. So, you know, I've heard people say, well, yeah, I lasted till 11 o'clock, and that was the end of that. By lunch, I was done. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there's two different things. I think, first of all, diets don't last any time of year, and also New Year's resolutions don't last because we're basically writing them down and we're forgetting what they are 3 days later. Mm-hmm. And so one of the ways that I have changed my attitude about New Year's resolutions, and I work with my clients on this, instead of saying, oh, I want to lose 5 pounds, I want to get in the best shape, all those things that we say year after year, we say, what can we add in our life this year? What do we want more of, and what do we want less of? And maybe we need to add more greens and add a little bit more exercise or add more fun. And maybe we need to take out toxic people, you know, and things we don't like to do. And suddenly that seems quite manageable, you know, and we put that up right on our bulletin board. So it's not this like, I have to lose 5 pounds. It's, what do I need to make my life feel better, and what do I want to take away? And it's really a beautiful exercise that I recommend wholeheartedly.
And that is a good exercise. And it's, I tell my clients, if you want something different, you have to do something different.
Absolutely.
You can't do the same old and expect a different result.
No, you can't. And I think, going back to your point about, the new year and wanting to lose weight, of course, we all overeat. It starts at Halloween, and it goes through Thanksgiving, into the holidays, and we can't zip our pants, and we feel like crap, right? And everybody, is in the same boat, at least many, many, many people. And I do think that the worst thing you can do is say, I'm going on this crazy crash diet because, A, it's not sustainable, B, you instantly feel deprived the moment you even say those words, which all it does is make you crave things more, and you're setting yourself up for disaster. But what you can do instead is you might want to just break the cycle of those addictive foods, whether your thing is sugar or alcohol, whatever your thing is. It's not a bad idea to take a break, because since they are so addictive, it's hard to moderate. So you take a break for a week, cleanse the palate, and then go back into a normal, healthy eating routine.
Yeah, you know what? I do that, Lisa. That Whole30 diet, the Whole30, which
of course, sure,
is basically not eating sugar and carbs and things. It's just for 30 days. I can do something for 30 days.
My program is a week, my Eat to Thrive, which is, it's just sugar, dairy, soy, alcohol, and gluten for a week. And people have crazy results, even just taking that away for a week. It just resets the palate, and it actually points to something more important, and I really am a strong believer that we have to understand our own triggers, our own food triggers, because once we understand them and have that knowledge, we can make much better educated decisions. And let me explain. For example, if I know that dairy is going to make me gassy and want to fart all the time, well, I don't have to go, I can't eat cheese because I'm on a diet. I'm going to go, I might not want to eat that because I don't want to feel that way.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. And so having that knowledge of how these foods trigger you is so, so empowering.
Now, is that what you mean when you say that, well, first of all, you say you self-hacked. Explain this to me and give my listeners a little background. You say you self-hacked your mind and body.
Okay, so basically what happened to me, I was one of these crazy, overachieving, busy people starting at a very young age. And in my early 20s, I continued along that path and co-founded a technology company with my boyfriend at the time, who is my husband now. But we were working crazy, crazy hours, and we were eating crappy, crappy food. And like many women, I was not taking care of myself. And I had a history of, mystery ailments my whole life. And doctors had always told me, it's just stress. So I grew up to believe that stress was just part of the job. Like it wasn't something to be afraid of. It was just something that came along with being me. And I'd get warning after warning after warning, and that saying, you get the tap, you get the tap, you get the tap, but it's not till you get hit on the hammer with a head that you notice something's wrong. So I had been working, 80 hours a week for many, many years, and sacrificed a lot of things during that time. I really had no time for friends. I had no time for me. I was, had this startup company, and this was a long time ago. This was not in the days of Facebook and Google where kids in their 20s were starting companies and people were throwing millions of dollars at them. Like, we were on our own, and we were building this thing from scratch, and we had to work twice as hard as everybody else, and it really took its toll on us in a huge way. And I kept working at that pace and working, and I got married. I had a baby. I just kept getting more and more little knocks on the door, more and more knocks, until one day after my second child.
Let me just stop you right there, Lisa. And we get those knocks. Don't we get those knocks and we ignore them?
We totally ignore them. We ignore them all the time. We all get them. We don't listen to them. We don't know how to listen to them.
Oh,
we don't know, and we can talk about that later. We ignore them. We think, no big deal. And then when we get hit on the head with the hammer, we get sick or we get injured. And
with you, it was you were pregnant with your second child.
No, I had just had my second child, and I literally collapsed. I literally collapsed. I thought I was having a stroke. I was 31 years old. I had just moved into a new house. I was rushed to the hospital. I had, tingles up the arm. I had numbness in my hands. I had losing peripheral vision. I was hysterical. I was terrified. Good news is I did not have a stroke. But the bad news was I had no idea, and they said to me, oh, it's probably just stress. And it was like, so I spent years being really depressed. Nobody could give me answers to anything. Fast forward, that's when I had to start self-hacking and figuring it out on my own.
And that's one of the things it is one of the things that you help other women do is you say that we can put together, that we can follow our clues.
We can follow our clues if we listen. So for me, I had to start understanding the impact of food and exercise and stress and caffeine and sleep and positive thinking, you name it. I thought, oh my God, all these things are impacting my health. So I started experimenting. I started pulling things out and putting them back in, and I cured myself. It took 2 years, but I healed myself completely. And I thought, oh, I feel pretty good. Let's keep going with this. Maybe what does it take to feel great? And I just kept going with it. And eventually I was like, this is awesome. And I felt better than ever. And so now I help other people figure out their stuff too.
And you organize food in an interesting way. Can you tell my listeners how you organize the 3 reasons for eating?
So I organize it in hunger, habit, and trigger. And I break trigger down into emotional trigger and chemical trigger. So, for example, the emotional trigger might be, oh, my God, I'm so sad, I need ice cream, whereas the chemical trigger might be, I had a bite of chocolate, I can't stop till the whole bar's gone.
I have to tell you, this is an odd thing that's a trigger, but I had earlier this week, and I noticed it this week, and I think I noticed it before, but I had forgotten because I hadn't done it for a long time. I had steel-cut oatmeal.
Okay.
And I was by 15 minutes after I finished, I was like itchy. I was like food itchy.
Interesting.
Now, who would think oatmeal?
Well, that's exactly it, though. You listen to your body, and that's exactly what I think we need to do with everything. Oh, isn't that interesting? I got itchy. Now, it might have been something else. It might have been your laundry detergent.
I mean like itchy, food itchy, like mouth hungry.
Okay, got it. So, again, that's listening to your body, paying attention, and noticing, because we're all different. And that's why the diet thing is really hard. They're designed for other people, not you.
And I was reading something in your first chapter, and I thought it was so interesting, and it was about filling your plate. And I'm going to quote you. And what you said in Busy, Stressed, and Food Obsessed was, I wasn't aware of my internal agenda at the time. I now realize I desperately needed to fill my plate with interesting experiences that I would always have interesting things to talk about, and could hide the fact that I felt like an inherently uninteresting person. And you say that happened when you were a teenager. But Lisa, I'm thinking about women in midlife, and I hear a lot of women, and you probably hear the same thing, that a lot of women in midlife feel like they're invisible.
Yeah.
So is that inherently uninteresting theme more common in midlife?
I think it's common at every age. I think that so many of us have the I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not pretty enough. We all have the I'm not good enough in some way, shape, or form, and many people aren't aware of it even. And I think that when we can really get to the heart of who we are and what we really need, we don't always have to use food to fulfill that. We can really start saying, oh, I have these feelings. I need to feel them. instead of distract ourselves with TV or drugs or too much alcohol or food or whatever our go-to thing is that we distract with. But yes, I totally agree with you. At this age, we feel invisible. And we start questioning, who am I? Am I seen? Am I heard? Am I respected in the world? Do I connect? Do I belong? And these are natural human needs. And I think it is very true at this age. We start going through almost like a second, not a second adolescence, but, just like in puberty, we're going through all these things. Well, in menopause, we're going through, our bodies are changing, our hormones are changing. Right. It's a tough time.
And I notice a lot of women, and I can't say most women, but a lot of women, I think that's when they start. Well, wasn't that the impetus behind that red hat, the red hat lady? Is it the red hat ladies?
I don't know.
There's that group where they didn't wear red for like most of. I wear red all the time, I never quite understood that. But some people don't want to wear red. I remember one woman telling me that she bought a red dress, and she had just turned 40. She said, "I'm finally 40. I think I deserve to wear a red dress." And like that thinking pretty much never occurs to me like that.
No, me neither. But I have heard women say things like, "Oh, I'm 40, I can't wear shorts anymore."
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be like, "Why?" Or my skirt has to be longer, or this, and all these shoulds. And, this can be a wonderful time of just, I don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore. I'm going to be who I want to be and wear what I want to wear.
Well, Lisa, you talk about silencing our inner critic, and we have to go for a break. But when we come back, let's talk a little bit about that.
Great.
And everybody, stay close. You're listening to the Friday Happy Hour.
Hi, this is Annmarie Kelly, author, victory strategist, and the radio show host of the Friday Happy Hour. I trust you're enjoying my conversation with this fabulous, victorious woman. If you're getting inspired with ideas and feeling empowered, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's more for you. Tips, downloads, resources at the Victorious Woman Project. Go to victoriouswoman.com and look around and get on my mailing list so you can be the first to know about the newest good things I have for you. That's www.victoriouswoman.com.
Welcome back to the Friday Happy Hour. I'm Annmarie Kelly. I'm here with Lisa Lewtan. And Lisa, we were talking before we went to the break about, that not good enough stuff, and that's a theme that so many of my guests and I talk about that not good enough stuff. But you talk about silencing your inner critic. So if I wanted to do that, what are some of the things that I could do?
Well, Annmarie, the first thing you have to realize is that in any given day, we have about 70,000 thoughts. And just because we think something doesn't mean it's true. So I could say it's raining outside. I think it's raining. It doesn't mean it's actually raining outside. I could say, I think I look fat in these pants. It doesn't mean that I do look fat in these pants. So many things that we think are not actually true. That's number one. So when you get this thought, this inner critic thinking, you can say to yourself, is this really true, or is this just something I'm thinking and that I'm in a habit of thinking? Another thing that I love to do with my clients, which makes it actually quite fun, is I like to name my inner critic. Now, I named my inner critic Frank. In the book, I called her Frankie, so she was a female. But in reality, it's a guy named Frank. Mm-hmm. And when I hear that voice, I go, shut up, Frank. I appreciate that you came to visit me. I appreciate that you're reminding me of all these things, but I'm okay. I got this. And I kick him to the curb. But we have to recognize that, again, just because I think these things, they're not true. They're not true. And when we put them and we see them as this almost like the evil character, we can laugh about it instead of get upset about it. And it works very well.
Yeah, because the memory remembers the ridiculous. So if we give it like attach something ridiculous to something that we don't want, we'll remember to do exactly what you're saying, kick it to the curb.
Yeah.
I think that kind of is what you're talking about, right?
Well, again, we have a choice. We have a choice when a thought comes into our mind, how we're going to react to that thought. We can let it pummel us and send us to our bed in tears, or we could say, okay, isn't that interesting, and move on with our day. So again, and I'm a big believer in meditation and other practices that really help you get to understand your own thinking patterns and understand and get comfortable with the feelings that are around them so that they're not frightening to you. They're just thoughts, and they come, they go, and then we decide if we're going to attach meaning to them.
Lisa, I think a lot of times we don't, I like that idea about the meditation because I think a lot of times we just keep moving.
Right.
We're really busy all the time.
We're busy, stressed, and food obsessed.
Yep. And what we're busy with is sometimes there's a difference between being busy with productive stuff and just being busy with, just mindless stuff.
Well, I think we forget how to be not busy.
Yeah.
We all have become like adrenaline junkies. And if we're not busy, we don't know what to do with ourselves. So we create reasons to be busy. And, I call it the busy badge of honor. I'm so busy. No, I'm so busy. And that's all we talk about is how busy we are. And it doesn't really make anybody feel good, And so I think that when we get in touch with exactly what you said, like, are we busy being productive or are we just being busy for busy's sake? And what's the sacrifice for that? What are we giving up because we're not making time in our life for the things that matter because we're spending time being busy on things that don't matter often?
I remember Tony Robbins said this a long time ago, that you major in minor things. And I think so often that's the thing. We spend so much time focused on things that are unimportant, just unimportant, that they might make us feel good for a moment, or they might make somebody else feel good for a moment, but they don't move us along to where we want to go and to doing what we want to do.
Yeah. And what else I find, Annmarie, is a lot of women at this age don't even remember what they want to do. We don't remember what fun is.
Me too. Yep.
Yeah, like maybe in our 20s, maybe it was going out dancing and partying. Well, that might not feel so fun right now. So we have to redefine what fun is. And most people are so busy, they don't take the time to even do that. And how can you add fun in your life if you don't even know what you enjoy? So I like to really have people focus in on, what do I love? What do I love to do? And I love what you said before, like when you were a kid, what were those things that you just loved to do without anyone telling you to do them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you didn't have responsibilities.
Yeah, it's so true. And when we tap into that piece of ourselves, we find so much joy that we'd rather be doing that than eating. But when we don't have those things, we look for replacements. We look for other things to make us feel good. And those are the food and the alcohol or the drugs or those other things, because we seek pleasure. We need pleasure, and we're just going about it kind of in a lazy way.
So, Lisa, I'll bet there is a single listener who doesn't know what it means to feed their anxiety with food, that we're trying to stay busy. We're trying to do something. And for me, I'm working on getting my next book finished, and you know what that process is like.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel hungry all day long. And It's like, it's not stomach hunger. It's what I was saying before. It's mouth hunger. So, what's all that about? And I just know you get that itchy feeling, like you have to be doing something. You have to, something's going on.
I can tell you what I believe might be going on, because I see this quite a bit, is we really are hungry for a break. Often when we feel the clue that we're hungry, we are hungry for something indeed, but it might not be food. It just appears as food. So we have to listen to that knock saying, okay, I'm hungry, but I might be hungry for a nap. I might be hungry for a 5-minute walk outside. I might be hungry for a phone call. I might be hungry for something. So when you're working all day long, you might not take an official break. and you go, oh, I'm hungry, I need a snack. Well, that's a break. So we've gotten used to saying that's okay, but it's not okay to just sit and read a magazine in the middle of the day. That's not productive. It's not okay, and we have created rules for what is okay and what isn't okay. And many people, and I do the same thing, I'm like, oh, I must be hungry when I've been working on something for a really long time. But the truth is I really just need a break. And even doing a little meditation or getting outside or just saying for 10 minutes I'm going to do nothing can sometimes satisfy that need.
You know, I'm thinking about a woman I know who started smoking because she was the only person in her office, this is a little while back, who didn't smoke. And they would always go out and take a break to have a cigarette. And so she started smoking so she could go out and take a break, too.
Because she felt she just couldn't take a break if there wasn't a reason. And I think that's an amazing point. We don't need a reason. All we need is to feel that we are entitled to take a break.
So maybe we should start scheduling our breaks in just the way we would if we had an appointment, to say, okay, from this time to this time I'm taking a 10-minute break.
It's not a bad idea because they say the average attention span really can't go more than 50 minutes. And so, you know, to take a 10-minute break every 50 minutes is not a bad idea. And it sounds like, oh, you're giving up all this time. But at the end of the day, you might be way more productive.
I'll tell you that also that he says, because we're on computers so much, that we need to take that 10-minute break to get up and to avoid, the things that being at a computer can, for your eyes, for your body, for your muscles and stuff, to get up and just even if you just walk to the other side of the office and back, or go up and down a flight of stairs. You know,
I just recently got a treadmill desk, and so while I'm at my computer, I'm walking, and I find even just that movement really helps me so much. You know, it's not a break, but it's moving. And we need to, just as much as we need a mental break, we need to move our bodies.
Now, Lisa, I've heard of those, and I don't have one, and I don't think I'm going to get one, but let me ask you this. What speed do you have that on?
So this is something I was curious too. A treadmill desk is designed to go no faster than 2 miles an hour. And I usually go only about 1.3 or something because I'm pretty new at it still, maybe 1.4. So it's very slow, but you're standing. And the truth is, if I've been working 4, 5, 6 hours at my computer that day, some days, I walked 5 miles. I feel really great going, I did something above and beyond my work, and it feels really nice.
Very interesting. Earlier this week I wrote a blog post about something it's called it was an audio program called The Strangest Secret, and it was about the power of habits. And that's exactly what you're talking about. It's making a habit out of something healthy instead of a habit out of, you said the hunger habit trigger. Instead of having a habit that at 6 o'clock I have to eat or it's 12 o'clock I have to eat, you're making a habit out of something really healthy for yourself.
Well, I think that's the thing. We always think about what we can take away, and there's a lot of things we need to take away, but there's so many wonderful habits we can be adding in the day, like, gratitude practices and meditation and, decluttering and, just like adding this juicy stuff to our life, is wonderful. So there has to be this balance of adding good and then kind of shifting away some of the bad, because it is slow. It is hard. And, whenever you have a habit, it's so much easier to anchor. I call it anchor a new habit onto an existing habit. So, for example, I was already at a standing desk. I had done that for a few years already, so moving to a treadmill desk for me didn't seem like that hard of an adjustment, where somebody who's been sitting, going straight to the treadmill desk might seem very hard.
Yeah, stages,
right.
Lisa, we have to take a little break, so everybody hang in there, and we're going to be back with Lisa Letwan in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to the Friday Happy Hour.
Are you one of those women who lived the first part of your life as a really good girl? That is, you did all the right things and followed all the so-called rules for women, I was like that too. But have you noticed that once you passed 40, you have less patience for those rules? Maybe you even think that the rules really don't make sense for you anymore. Maybe they never did and you just didn't realize it. Do you want to go where other recovering good girls meet to inspire each other and support their new empowered selves? Then join me, Annmarie Kelly, and some very fabulous Victorious Women. We're on Facebook at the Victorious Woman Project. So go to facebook.com/Victorious Woman Project. I'll talk to you there.
Welcome back to the Friday Happy Hour. I'm here with Lisa Letwan. We're talking about being busy, stressed, and food obsessed. I like that, Lisa. I like that that idea of just adding in, like just creating new habits in a healthy way. One of the things, though, I have to say that in your book that made me laugh so hard was that you think that women think about food the way men think about sex.
I do.
Do we?
Well, do you? I mean, the truth is, first of all, there's all those studies out there, and we don't know if they're true or not, saying that men think about sex every 10 seconds or, millions of times a day, all that. And many men will agree with that they're thinking about sex all day long. And some women are too, but many women I talk to are thinking about food all day long. And part of it is that we are usually, traditionally, the ones that had to think about the food. We had to buy the food and make the food.
That makes sense.
Right. We were the keepers of the food. So food is on our brain to begin with, but somewhere along the way, food became pleasure for us. And when we're thinking about things we don't want to be thinking about, or we're bored or anything, where does our mind jump to? Food. It goes to food. And now, all you have to do is look at social media, and you just see the most amazing-looking food on every, platform, on Facebook, on Instagram, and cookbooks everywhere with
and everybody goes
photos.
out to dinner and takes a picture of their food before they eat it and posts it.
Exactly. We are food obsessed. We are totally food obsessed. So this is our food porn. We're really thinking about food a lot. And so, yeah, I do really think that it has become one of our major forms of pleasure.
I do think that's true. And when you get together, and like with another couple, I do this. I'm guessing that most of my listeners, and you probably do it, that when you get together with another couple, you go out to dinner. Or you invite them to your house and you have snacks. You can't just have them over to drink. So.
It's all about the food. It's so true. And I'm always looking for activities that don't involve food. Right?
Yeah.
Because so much of our culture, every celebration is about food. And we have celebrations literally like every other day between holidays and birthdays and weddings and you name it. Like there could be a holiday every single day of the year. So there's so much food around us. And one thing I love to tell people is be a food snob. If you're going to have ice cream, eat the best ice cream you can find. If you're going to eat chocolate, don't waste it on the crap. Like, go find the best, dark, delicious, organic chocolate you can get your hands on because you deserve the best quality, and that's going to be more satisfying for you.
I agree with you. I noticed I was in a behavior modification program, and during that time lost 50 pounds, and got into a shape. I still wasn't thin, but I didn't care that I wasn't thin. It's like what you talk about. I felt really good. Mm-hmm. And I got to the point where if I'm going to have a drink, I drink scotch, so I want it to be the scotch that I really want. I just really don't want, something that you get at the bar that they mixed in with something else. Or if I'm going to have a treat, even if it's a smaller amount. Like sometimes, you know how it is, you might get something and it's not the best of something. Mm-hmm. And you eat a lot of it versus having just a little bit of something that's extra special.
Well, it's like don't waste it. Don't waste it on the crappy food.
Yep.
Eat the good stuff.
Yep.
Lisa,
we have a few minutes left, and I'm wondering if you have time to tell us about the pause.
Oh, sure. So I always advise people, you have that little split second before you're about to eat something, and I call that the pause. And I recommend asking yourself a few questions. Like, for example, let's say you're at the restaurant, they bring the bread basket. before you take that first bite, say, what am I really hungry for right now? Is it bread? Is it a different food? Is it conversation? Really getting in tune with what you're feeling. Then, how will this food make me feel physically? And I can say, oh, last time I had it, it made me really sluggish. I have time to think about that. Can I stop after one bite? Very important question. I can't. I don't know if you can. If there's a warm bread basket in front of me.
Yeah, I can't.
No. And again, knowing yourself. No guilt, no shame. Just knowing yourself as an eater. Will I be disappointed in myself if I eat this? And remember, we're not talking one bite. We're talking about half the bread basket. A lot of times the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is yes, and I don't care. But as long as you take the time and you make the decision knowing this, you don't have to feel guilty about it. Mm-hmm. And the last question is this the best fuel that I could give myself right now? Like, am I really giving my body the top quality food that I can be? Like if I'm racing out the door and I grab some sugary bar, is that really going to hold me over? Is that really going to make me feel good? Am I bringing something good into my body? Probably not. So when we ask ourselves, this is where the change happens. This is where you say to yourself, okay, I eat chocolate every day. If I eat it again right now, it means I'm just going to keep up this habit. But if I stop right now, the habit can change. And that's where the power comes, in the pause.
That makes sense, because if you can stop and then think about it, and that does empower you.
And it has to be before you start, because once you start, you're hosed. You have no control anymore. It's a chemical thing. Yeah, no, it's a chemical trigger.
Yeah, that train's on the track, and it's just going right down.
Right.
Interesting. So, Lisa, tell me what, for your clients, you have a lot of clients who are midlife. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things, like of the things that we've talked about today, what are some of the most common ones that you notice with women in midlife?
I notice sugar addiction being a tough issue for many women. I can't stop, I need a treat every day, or the glass of wine every day. I see that come up a lot. I see the frustrations of I'm eating so healthy, I'm working out, why can't I lose weight? I see the sleep issues. I see a lot of those things. And one of the things that I recommend, and I talk about for a second, is, like I said, take a break. And it's really hard to do those things alone. And so I have found that my online group programs, I have even more success than I do sometimes with one-on-one coaching, because there's a power of community. And when like you said, you did Whole30, like when you know that other people are in this with you, you can go way beyond what you could do on your own. And I see unbelievable things in a week. Like, I wouldn't believe it myself if I didn't see people's, taste change. Joint pain goes away. Eyes start, shining. Appetite changes. Like, crazy stuff happens when people start getting inflammatory foods out of their system. It's just it's literally a miracle for me to watch. So I get really excited about that.
And when you have a workshop starting soon, and what do you do in your workshop?
So my program coming up is called Eat to Thrive, and this program, I used to run it in person all the time, and I finally moved it to an online platform with videos and audios, and super educational. And we eat real whole food, and we take out gluten, dairy, soy, sugar, and alcohol. And each day there's motivational tips, there's accountability buddies, there's little, maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day of little exercises to do to keep it in the front of your brain. And people do it. They stick with it because they know they're part of a group, and they do it. And then in the end, I explain how to bring back these foods one at a time so that people can understand what's going on in their body. And I have seen, reactions like, people discovering that they actually have celiac, but also bloating, anxiety, aches, pains, you name it, skin issues, digestive troubles, things that they never, ever attributed to food. They suddenly have that knowledge, and it's, like I said before, it's really a joy for me to help people figure out their own sensitivities and triggers.
So I was going to put it is on my radio wrap up today, but my radio wrap up.
If people want more information, they can just text 44144 and enter the word healthy, and then they'll be on my list and they will receive the information about the program. And I actually created a discount code for your listeners. If they sign up and enter Kelly, Kelly, they'll get 20% off of the registration fee.
All right, that's good. That's good, Lisa. And there's one other thing I want to share with my listeners that I've reading your book reminded me to do, and I remember when I was doing it, it was a big thing, and I'm doing it again now. But you say we should take a 64-ounce pitcher, fill it up, and drink it before the end of the day.
Well, so what I like to do, everybody's always saying, I don't drink enough, and it gets kind of arduous when you have to count, like, did I have 2, did I have 4? So I just fill up the jug in the morning, and then when I use it to actually fill my water cup throughout the day. And at the end of the day, if there's a lot left, I go, oh, okay, that's probably why I have a headache. That's probably why I have a little green vein popping out. That's probably why. It's all information. I like to look at everything as data. And so if I have had all of it, I feel better. I know I've had enough. And I don't have to be counting. So anything you can do to make your life easier, do it.
That's good. Lisa, thanks so much for coming today.
Oh, you're welcome. And I forgot to mention this program, Eat to Thrive, is starting soon. It's starting on January 17th. And they can also get more information on my website, which is healthyhappyandhip.com.
That's great. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Oh, you too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And, of course, Victory Chicks and you guys, because I know that you want to get buff. You guys want to get buff for us, Victory Chicks? You can find the links on the radio wrap-up. It'll probably be up by tomorrow. And I'm wondering what you're doing this weekend. I'm going to a family party at Joseph's house, and then the rest of the weekend I'm doing something I love to do in January and February. I binge-watch TV. I love doing that. These days, I'm watching that show. I don't know if any of you are watching it. It's called The Americans. And it's about a Russian couple who are spies, and they're posing as typical young American couple. We're only on season 1, but I need a good snowy day to watch a whole season. And then I'll be watching the latest season of House of Cards. But, geez, if you've seen any one of those, you know that no wonder everybody's so paranoid about the government and the Russians taking over. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I don't know. Those shows can do it to you. Well, listen, my quote today comes from one of my favorite stars, Mae West, who was an empowered woman long before we all knew what it was. Even before we were born, she was an empowered woman. And she said, I never worry about diets. The only carrots that interest me are the number you get in a diamond. So, Victory Chicks, that's a good quote to leave around for your guys. Valentine's Day is only a month away. So, you guys think in terms of carrots. Have a fabulous week, and let's get together again next Friday at the Friday Happy Hour. Jen's on.
Thanks for listening to this Friday Happy Hour. Make sure you subscribe, rate and review today's show. And join us again next week for the Friday Happy Hour with Annmarie Kelly.